In this video, I'm going to show you how we can configure passwordless service connection in Azure DevOps using Workload Identity Federations. And we start right now. Hi, I'm Lionel, your MCT and MVP. Welcome to the playlist dedicated to Azure DevOps. Today, I'm making this video because Workload Identity Federations are pretty new, and I think it's important to understand how they work and why they are secure. Before diving into Workload Identity Federation, I highly recommend checking out my previous video where I explain in detail what a service principal, an app registration and an enterprise apps are. Trust me, it will be super helpful for understanding today's content. As always, if you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to leave them below. I love hearing from you and I'm here to help. Let's start by explaining what a service connection is. In a typical scenario, you have an Azure DevOps pipeline that needs to create resources in Azure using Terraform, for example. You would create a service connection in your project to communicate with Azure. If we take a look at a traditional service connection, you can see that when we navigate to its service principal and then to the secret menu, there is a secret stored in there. This secret has a limited lifespan, meaning you have to renew it frequently and ensure it never gets compromised. Not the most comfortable situation, right? This is where Workload Identity Federation comes to the rescue. One last thing before talking about it, if we go back to our service connection, we can see that there is a button to convert directly to Workload Identity Federation, which shows that Azure encourages people to migrate quickly. Okay, so now let's talk about Workload Identity Federation. With this new type of service connection, we leverage two protocols, OAuth 2 and OpenID Connect, which is built on top of it. These protocols allows us to handle authorization and authentication without a single password, thanks to OIDC Federation. As you can see on the screen, our diagram shows a pipeline using a Workload Identity Federation service connection. Notice the link between Azure DevOps and Azure established by an OIDC Federation. When we create the service connection, an app registration and a service principal are created on the Azure side, and the link is established between Entra and Azure DevOps. If we go back to my Azure DevOps account and look at my Workload Identity Federation service connection, we can directly see how the created service principals is configured by clicking on this link. We can see that we have no secrets, but in the credential menu, you have found a federated credential. It's mainly composed of an Azure and a subject identifier. In the issuer, we can see the domain name dev.azure.com, so we can assume that it was provided by Azure DevOps. And in the subject identifier, we have the name of my organization, my project, and my service connection. This will ensure that the app registration and its targeted service principal are indeed linked to my service connection. Here is a diagram explaining the process. The Azure DevOps pipeline requests a token from the external identity provider, which in our case is Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps issues a token to the pipeline. The pipeline sends the token to the Microsoft Identity Platform and requests an access token. The Microsoft Identity Platform checks the trust relationship on the app registration and validates the external token against the OpenID Connect issuer URL. When the checks are satisfied, the Microsoft Identity Platform issues an access token to the external workload. The Azure DevOps pipeline uses the access token to create resources in Azure. Through this process, we are sure that the pipeline trying to create Azure resources is the one linked to the app registration and its service principal. If for any reason you can't use app registration in your context, you can opt for Managed Identities. Each method has its own advantages. Here is a comparison table. For example, with app registrations, we are operating at the tenant level and can add scopes like graph APIs. With Managed Identities, we are at the resource group level and can only interact with Azure resources. Generally, app registration is better suited for scenarios where you need to interact with a wide range of services, while Managed Identity is a good choice if you want to delegate management to project teams or tie its lifecycle to project lifecycle. This is just one of many ways to enhance security in Azure DevOps. If you are eager to dive deeper and continue enhancing your DevOps skills, I highly recommend checking out my related videos. I will link them in the description below, and they will also pop up on the screen in just a moment. Make sure to click on them. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, thank you so much for dropping by my channel today. Here are some other videos that may interest you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to be informed of the weekly updates. Let's keep growing a fantastic learning community together. My goal is to assist as many people as possible on their cloud and DevOps learning journey. That's it, take care and see you next time.